Just a small disclaimer before I start this video. Do not watch ahead of here if you are easily scared, if you can't watch horror or suspense or paranormality or anything related to the supernatural because you think you won't be able to sleep at night, if you're queasy, if you're that kind of person, then do not watch this video. You have been warned. Creepypastas are the best way for people to invoke fear in others through the internet. And I think that over the years they've been developing into something into a cult following of sorts, like everyone can contribute to creepypastas and they can create their own and share them. Creepypasta.com and creepypasta.org are two of the best websites to share creepypastas. Basically they can range from short, medium long, or really long stories that are usually pretty much always fiction, of course, fictional takes of people coming into contact with paranormal beings or spirits and just haunted locations, items like cursed dolls, video games even. And there are just so many haunted stories, so many creepy stories. And it's just crazy how much you can binge read them if you're really into that kind of thing. I started getting into creepypastas a few years ago and I'm always reading them. I like to have that sort of fear injected into me. And some are really, really crappy, some are just ridiculous. You can tell that they're completely fiction. But some are just so perfectly written, so well executed that you actually, at the end of them, you actually think, oh my God, did this really happen? I mean, it's crazy, Depending on the people who write the pastas and how they write them, you really do think that this really happened or it could happen, But it's pretty much always fiction. It's really rare for that one pasta to be based on fact and you read it and it's like, okay, well, this actually did happen. But most of the time they're all non-fiction. But there are some that are they're crazy, I mean, a few, for example, that I really like are The Statue, The Fairies, Ben Drowned, Abandoned by Disney. I mean, some of those are just, I'm not even going to go into detail. I'm going to leave a link in the description to some of those. And you guys can check them out later, And I mean, like I said in my introduction, if you're the kind of person who can't really stand horror or anything too scary, too frightening, then you shouldn't even go to any of those websites because you're really going to get terrified. You won't be able to sleep at night. I wasn't kidding in my introduction. You will not be able to sleep at night. And I can sometimes, and I actually do like reading them. And what makes most creepypastas so scary is just the realism, the factor in that they can really invoke something that actually is there or was there, something that did happen, and they play on true facts, or even if it didn't happen, the way that it's structured is just so perfect, it's just so flawless that you really do believe it actually happened. Sometimes the use of violence and sometimes even graphic imagery can really sell the picture, They actually include photos in some pastas, so it's like, oh my God, this really did happen. The last one that I mentioned, Abandoned by Disney, is just it's terrible. It's terribly good. It's terrible in the sense that you feel frightened. You actually feel fear. You read it. It's really long, but it's really worth a read. You really should read it. And it's basically about Disney having abandoned a park in the middle of an island, in the middle of the ocean, and a reporter goes there and finds a lot of disturbing crap, And it's just so well written that at the end, I actually had to do research to actually see if it really was real or not. And turns out it actually is. There really is an abandoned park by Disney somewhere out there, but the story apparently is completely fiction. But it's just so well written that I just got so into it, It's crazy. And I'm going to leave a link in the description to some of those, especially that one. My next video is going to be specifically about that one, so if you guys want to check it out, stay tuned. Subscribe to my channel, guys. Watch my last two videos, and, well, happy reading, if you dare.